Jay Glazer from Fox said that Odell Beckham Jr. will be fully cleared by the end of the week, and he expects there to be a bidding war for his services, and he expects the 49ers and the Cowboys and the Bills to be in that bidding war. If Jay Glazer says something particularly about the 49ers, I just believe it. So if they're going to be entering a bidding war for Odell Beckham Jr., do you think that's a good idea, Dad?
I want to ask you a question about Jay Glazer. Is he the overdeveloped guy who sort of bulges out of his suit?
Yeah, and he seems like he's had like 8 cups of coffee, and he's on TV, and he's standing up, and he gives the news, and he's like,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And you say he does have a certain credibility with the Niners?
I think he has just an impeccable track record with the 49ers. Whoever he's talking to over there really knows.
Okay, great. Well, God love you, Jay. Here's what I want to say. First of all, how good is Odell Beckham Jr. right now?
Don't know. He tore his ACL less than a year ago. It's the second time he's torn that ACL. Dr. Nirav Pandya, been on my show a few times. You've seen him on the. He tweeted, really smart. He tweeted, look, for wide receivers, the first ACL results in like a lack, a diminishment in your athletic abilities. The second could be really bad. So he's 30, and we don't even know how good he is. He was diminished the first time.
Okay, so what we have is almost certainly damaged goods.
Oh, certainly damaged goods.
Okay, that's one thing. On the other side of the scale, do the 49ers need another wide receiver?
I mean, you always could use depth. The Niners have, yes, you could always. Do they need a wide receiver as much as they need a cornerback? No. Or a defensive tackle? No. Or an offensive tackle? No. But Debo's hurt. Well, he's not having a great year. Hamstring issue. What if Brandon Ayuk got hurt? I mean, you could always use another guy, but not.
Okay. My gut feeling is I'm not all that enthusiastic about this. First of all, the guy's damaged. Second of all, he's a speed receiver, right?
Yeah, he's not big.
Can Jimmy get him the ball where he needs to get him the ball? I mean, he's
Fair
not
question.
running these little routes over the middle. There's that, and plus, if I were in charge, and thank God I'm not, I'm looking at the offensive line. I mean, first of all, they have Brandon Ayuk, who's terrific. They have Deebo Samuel, who may end up being terrific, and Juwan Jennings is very good. He's very good.
He's had good games in the playoffs for him.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem to me, this seems like a splash move, but not a necessary move. And I would like to see an offensive tackle. It's not sexy, but man, I think in the long run, it would solidify this team a lot more than yet another wide receiver and yet another 49er player coming with injuries.
I completely agree with you, but the fact that it would be a sexy splash move makes me believe that the Niners want to do it, because that's what Christian McCaffrey was. I mean, say what you want, good player, but not feeling a need, the kind of move that gets everyone talking about your team for a few weeks. It's the kind of move the Cowboys like to do. And on top of it, the Niners pretty much admitted that they paid a premium for McCaffrey because they didn't want him to go to the Rams, as if the Rams were going to be a contender with Christian McCaffrey. Well, once again, if they respect Odell Beckham Jr. and think he's still good, they might be afraid of him going to Dallas because they faced Dallas in the playoffs last year, or Buffalo because they might, they may be thinking down the line, well, we can't let these contenders get Odell Beckham Jr. Dad, I could see them doing this. It would be, I don't think they should, but it seems like completely on brand for their team this year, something they would do.
Okay. Again, if they were to do it, certainly a lot of our colleagues would have lots of articles to write.
And they'd say it's great.
From a journalism point of view, it's absolutely wonderful.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Odell Beckham Jr. would not hurt the team. It might improve it a little bit. It's not the move I think they should make. And we're agreeing on that, are we, Iggy?
Right, but to your point, I mean, they don't have to give up a draft pick for him. The only thing is I've read that he wants a multi-year deal, not just a deal for the end of the year. If the Niners give him a multi-year deal, and so at what point does Brandon Ayuk just be like, hey, are you going to pay everyone except for me? What about me? Is there anything left over for me at this point? I wouldn't give the guy coming off the second torn ACL a multi-year deal. If you want to go to Dallas, go ahead.
Iggy, you think that's how players think? You think they noticed that the other guy got a better deal? I think they're all in for the team, Iggy.
Absolutely.
And they're all willing to take less money. Wouldn't you agree?
I think so. I think Brandon Ayuk sees all these people getting outrageous contracts and says, I'll be the one guy who takes way below market value just to keep the whole band together because we're a family.
Yeah. I'm sure that now I don't know Brandon Ayuk, so I don't know what his feelings are, but I got to tell you guys, you people watching in, everybody on a team is aware of everybody else's contract. And no matter what they say publicly, they're counting the pennies, the nickels, the dimes. And if they feel they're getting screwed, they're not happy. And I could see Ayuk, who has an unlimited future, being pissed if they bring in this guy, give him a multi-year contract, and he's hurt. This is sort of like a special, a Balky special. Bring in a guy who's hurt and give him a multi-year deal.
Also, it's a way to suppress Brandon Ayuk's numbers and suppress his earning power. So they don't even throw that much to begin with. He has to split targets with Kittle, Debo, and now McCaffrey. And then you bring in Beckham. You're not bringing him in for 1 or 2 throws a game. You're bringing him in for 5 or 6. So now it's like, Ayuk, we love you, but be a team player and be happy with these 4 or 5 targets a game. And he could even say yes. But then when it's time to negotiate a contract, they'll be like, man, you only got 4 or 5 targets a game, right?
You know, you're always smarter than I am, and you're always a step ahead. That's exactly how it works.
Of course.
He's not only thinking about money, he's thinking about opportunities.
Of course.
He's cutting in on my time.
Yeah, why do we need him? I mean, I already don't get enough targets. I already don't get the ball enough because of the coach and the quarterback, all of it. Also, it's not just Brandon Ayuk who thinks these things through. It's the agent. It's his job. So anyway, don't get Beckham. It's unnecessary.
Okay. So what Grant and I are saying is get somebody, sure.
Sure.
And if you get Beckham, he might improve the team somewhat. But cornerback, offensive tackle, I would say those are more urgent, obvious, and pressing needs.
Right. Because the big point is the Niners they need to win the Super Bowl this year. And what we said with the McCaffrey thing is, nice player, but we don't think it's necessarily the move that's going to put you over the top, a different running back who's better. Again, Odell Beckham Jr., nice player if healthy. Is this going to make the Niners Super Bowl favorites? Not necessarily the way a new right tackle might or a new cornerback might. Those are moves that would just move the needle, to use a bad cliche, a little bit more.
Yeah, move the needle. There is
it's a really bad one
in football that
you
it's a minefield of cliches, but move the needle. And the question about Beckham Jr. is how much upside he has.
He's got. He's an upside guy, and he's a football player.
Don't you love when the announcers say he's a football player? No, I thought he was a badminton player.
Sometimes I feel like those announcers get hired based on which ones can string together the most cliches in a row without stuttering.
He's a north-south runner.
That's important. East-west runners are the worst.